Growing up, I never really saw teaching as being a difficult job that required much skill. That was until I saw my mother and aunt start to teach, and it made me realize how much skill and work is needed to be a teacher. Being students our entire lives can be hard, and as the days we spend in school become more tiring, we start to take it out on the ones around us, especially our teachers. I know I'm not the only one who's ever thought of a teacher being useless or didn't teach anything. We start to take teachers for granted because they're part of our lives for so long. Years go by and we keep learning the same topics over and over again. It begins to feel as if they don't want to teach us, they don't like to teach us. We get older and it stays the same. But yet, that couldn't be farther from the truth, and I had to have a behind the scenes tour to see why. But to know what I mean, you had to have a view of what I thought teachers were growing up. Growing up, I never really saw teachers as being very helpful to my success. I felt that I had to do the work on my own, that I was on my own doing the work. Asking for help wasn't an option for me because class wasn't very difficult most of my high school, elementary school, middle school days. So I never really needed help. But when I did need help, I didn't know how to ask for it and I didn't want to really ask for it. And so that left me in a lot of stuck positions of doing work because it made me feel if I wasn't capable of doing the work, I wasn't smart enough to do it. And that put a lot of pressure. Being an army kid also meant that I was moving a lot in my early years, and that meant a lot of teachers. And to me, teachers always seemed the same. They always taught the same ways mostly. They always gave the same kind of work. So it never really felt as if teachers put a lot of effort into the work they did, other than just grading a paper. I had felt like this for a while growing up, and that was until I watched my mother and aunt start to teach. That has given me a new view on what it takes to be a teacher. I watched them work beyond just grading papers and teaching. It extended to having meetings with other teachers, like faculty meetings. It had to do with having parent meetings during school, like parent-teacher conferences, not just before school, but after school. Also teaching, having meetings with kids, same things. All this work they did extra that was not even during school hours. And they also had to make sure kids had resources, not just in their classrooms, but outside of class during the hours when they're not in school. And soon enough, I started to have questions about what they did, and I also started to hear stories about what they did and what other teachers did and other students did. And it was very interesting to hear funny stories, happy stories, sad stories, stories that just are difficult. And once online classes started, I started to see how they taught and what they went through to teach online. All the material they had to start making from scratch instead of using stuff they already had. All the work they did to make sure kids were prepared for online school. Started weeks before school started, during the summer, when everyone else is vacationing. For kids that don't think of teachers. And after all this work I saw them do, it gave me a new appreciation of what teachers go through and what it takes to be a teacher. Now, I think teachers are more than just liking kids and having an easy degree. I realized that I had to change my ways of thinking, and not just because of what I went through with my mother and aunt, but because I started to go to college, and I needed help with college. And to get it, I needed to ask for help, which was a hard thing for me to do. I needed to ask a teacher, a professor, a TA, a student, maybe even. And this was all to help me succeed in college because I was starting to pay for school now. And it didn't just mean I was dumb and couldn't learn, but it meant I cared for my success. Professors want to challenge you. They don't want you to fail because not everything is black and white. It wasn't easy. I have discussed that in this speech that my views have changed greatly from when I was growing up to now in college. Teachers are important, and until recently, I had always thought that it didn't require much skill at all to teach. I never saw teachers as being very helpful to my success, not until I started seeing my mom and aunt teach. And now I really have seen what it takes to be a teacher and how I need them for my success in college. And now they have shown me what it takes to be a teacher. I never want to take them for granted again. All the knowledge I've learned, all the ways I've learned to learn from them. I know to never take them for granted again.